Hello and welcome. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. If you're coming back, welcome back. Glad to have you. Now today we're going to go ahead and do some marbling, and I'm using these trays today. If you've seen these little trays, I'm using Sika. So I'm doing two experiments. I'm using Sika bonding acrylic for concrete, and I'm also trying marbling for the first time. So let's see how it goes. So I'm using my cement mixture. I mix Cementol and Gypsum Plaster of Paris together, and I do usually a 50-50 mixture so I can get that lighter texture instead of that green gray look that the concrete gives. And that's pretty much for aesthetics is why I do that mixture. Doesn't make it any better, doesn't make it any stronger. It does have a little smoother texture too. And I'll go ahead and using acrylic paint and Sika to make it more liquidy to do my marbling. I'm trying this dripping onto the mold thing. I don't know how that's gonna work and see how that looks like. We'll see. And now I'm doing more and more mixture because I have a lot of different methods I want to try. All right, so I added a little bit more because I want a gray and like light color, so I didn't want it too black. Here I am doing swirls, and I had just dripped it, swirled it, and I don't know if that's gonna work or not. And I'm trying to layer it by adding both colors at the same time. And then I swirl it. Look at these nice little swirls on the bottom. It's not the marble effect that I'm exactly looking for, but we'll see how it turns out. And of course, this is for experiment purposes only. Oh, and here I am layering, swirling. So I try it with like two different colors with layers, and look at those nice little swirls. I'm kind of excited to see what these are gonna look like. All right, and these are soap molds that I got from DHgate. It took about a month to get here, but they're great, and I thought they were the different designs than the usual ones that I see. So I really like these ones, and I am, of course, doing a layering method with it. I'm like, maybe this layering method, it just might work. So put those aside, let those set. While those are setting, you can always remember to shake sonara your molds. That way it gets into all the little crevices and there's no air pocket or air bubble there sitting when you take it out the mold. So just keep on vibrating your molds so that way you get into every nook and cranny so you can have a smooth texture. And I know Plaster of Paris, it gives off a very smooth texture when it's done versus that gritty texture that cement gives. So when it comes to shaking and bubbling, it doesn't have to be as much of vibrating the molds. I mean, you still need to do it. It still might have little air pockets in there, but it's going to be reduced when you add the gypsum. Now, adding the Sika, I wanted to add it just to experiment and see, like, okay, is it going to be a stronger vessel? But we'll test that out and see how that works. And I'm adding this one mold specifically because I have extra, and I don't know how well this is going to turn out because it's kind of weird. The colors are starting to blend and look alike. But I should have been a bit darker. Hey, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was a first timer, okay? And this mold was just not working with me that day. I don't know what that end of that. I'm just telling you, this vessel is not going to turn out great, especially with that gritty bottom. And here is the top part of it, and look at those nice swirls. All right, so now I'm going to try these hexagonal coasters, and I'm doing layering and then swirling. Layering and swirling, just adding those colors, reducing those colors, taking them off. All right, so do that again. Of course, no two marble projects are ever going to be alike because it is a very random pattern that you're creating. And I cleaned up my area to unmold because I waited about 6 hours. And the thing about Sika is that the curing time is a little longer than just using water. So you do have a lot more time to work with the concrete before it starts to harden, before it's pancake batter consistency. And now I'm using my little scraper just to even out those bottoms, any little excess from the mold that hang around during the mold. And as you can see, the bottom and the top are not matching, so it needs a lot more curing time. So I'm gonna give it some air time for like maybe a day or two, see what the results are once I see that the coloring has lightened. And now here's my little one that was random dotting, and I think I might turn this into what? I don't know yet. It's not gonna be marble though, but I'm gonna turn it into something. So every project makes maybe another project sometimes. It has really nice imperfections. And here's how the other ones turned out. You can't really see anything. Everything looks like a green gray color right now. But after a day or two, you'll really see the results. And here's the coasters, not seeing much great marbling there on any of them really. So didn't do well on that. And here's the thing about these coasters and these tray molds. The main characters are really showing on the bottom. And I need the main character to be on the top, okay? The top is showing some side characters, but the main characters sit on the bottom looking like amazing. I'm just like, that's not the look I was going for. Okay, no one's looking at the bottom. Everyone sees the top. Here's this vessel. I think this one all blended together, and the bottom was so gritty. It just wasn't working. It was this whole mixture, I feel like, was a hot mess. And I've never had an experiment fail as much as it did when it comes to these type of art projects. Experiments fail all the time. But these little craft projects, I'm sitting there, I'm trying with this vessel. I just know it's kind of useless. There's a top part of it, like I said. The only part is that bottom of that lid, the one that no one can see. And there's not too much I can do there. So that's that. Let me move these around, clear my molds a bit. Alright, so here is what they look like after a day or two. Like I said, side characters on the top. This one has its main character right there. Main characters on the bottom. I need the main characters and the side characters to match. Come on, marbling. But to me, I feel like just dropping in the color, swirling it around while it's in the mixture and then pouring is probably was the best method to use. The layering didn't work. The dipping, dripping, swirling didn't work. The swirling worked great, yeah, on the bottom. I don't know what happened with the top part when I swirled. Everything just collectively sat somewhere else, and the coasters are just a fail. They were just a fail. So what I want to do is, let's not completely waste this whole project. Let's go ahead and resin it and try to see how the marble is going to turn out with resin. Now, stay tuned for that. And I'm going to do a little shatter test for using Sika today, the concrete bonding adhesive. Here we go. Ooh. Well, the orange vessel is something that I'm a mixture with water. The white one is a mixture with Sika. And the orange one, you can use your hands to break it real easily, and it shatters more. I mean, it still breaks with the Sika, and of course it's only been curing for like a day or two, and I'm gonna do all that water bath stuff and everything. So but as you can see, I've gotten more pieces out of the orange one than I have with the Sika. It does take a little bit more effort to break, so it's showing that it's a little tougher even though it hasn't even cured that long. So you can always use that as a mixture. You can still use water. You don't have to use gypsum. That's something I use just if I want my vessels to be as aesthetic, smooth, and nice as can be. And those are my results. So come back and see what I do with these vessels.